what has been happening in recent time in your ministry, the ministry where, especially where you have direct responsibilities for sports? What has been happening?
Thank you so much, Colin. And let me say a happy birthday to all the United Progressive Party supporters, and certainly to all those wonderful, good people of St. John's Rural South. This morning's Media Day, Colin, is actually a production of the Public Relations Unit of the United Progressive Party, headed, of course, by Senator the Honorable Joan Messiah. So we want to thank her so much for organizing this most important event. The United Progressive Party, after many years, and I mean many, many years, and a little boy growing up, you know, Colin, I've oftentimes said that whilst growing up, I would have been considered a late bloomer. And one of the things my mother sought to do on a Friday afternoon, because we are Seventh Adventists, before the sun would set, would be to read the front page story of the outlet newspaper. And then on a Sunday afternoon after lunch, which is usually late afternoon, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, I would have to read the editorial of the outlet newspaper. And it was from reading or learning to read from the newspaper, I got my conscience as it relates to the political layout of Antigua and Barbuda, exactly where we were, where we came from, where we were, and where the aspirations and hopes of the people of Antigua and Barbuda, where we wanted to be. And so from that very young age, I had a tremendous energy for seeing something different, something new, something progressive. And that was why when I had the opportunity in 1997, when I got a call from the then leader of the opposition, the Honorable Winston Baldwin Spencer, for a meeting, I immediately jumped at the opportunity. And he laid out very clearly, Colin, the fact that he had followed and heard quite a bit about me and so on, which I was quite shocked for. I didn't know that, you know, somebody of that stature could have been following my own performance. And I was invited then to join the United Progressive Party. I have to say, Colin, that I've had many disappointments in life. I've had the opportunity to say if I had known better, but not so as it relates to being a part of the United Progressive Party and being a part of a Winston Baldwin Spencer-led administration and under his stewardship and leadership. I am pleased, I am honored to have the opportunity to serve with him, and I wish today to reaffirm my wholehearted commitment for his leadership of this great party of ours, and I certainly do look forward for many, many, many more years. 2004, we would say, was the dent which was made. The rescue began in 2004 and still continues to this day. Many, 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 many wonderful things have happened through this United Progressive Party. When we consider that for 50 straight years, or 50 years plus, the Antigua Labour Party has been in control of this country in one way or the other. And the United Progressive Party would have now had its first 8 years in government. If you were to compare what happened in the past 50-odd compared to the 8 that we now have, any right-thinking person, any honest individual would have to declare that Antigua and Barbuda indeed have progressed. We certainly know of the past. I was born in 1973, Colin, and in the later years, in 78 and 79, as a young man, I remember people, I used to attend a primary school in Grace Farm called Grace Elementary School, and I remember, I think it was in 1979, that the headmistress then, Mrs. Jenlet, had to scramble all the children into the school because of tear gas, because of that whole situation where many of our people, when you dare to voice your opinion in this country, you were hounded. The bullets are still, or the bullet holes still remain in the Antigua Workers Union building to this day for the attempts which were made on our leaders' lives. So we have something to be proud about. We have a party with a history, we have a party with a philosophy, and we have a party with an aim. We have a leader who understands the plight of our people and continue every day to lead this party towards the transformation of Antigua and Barbuda.
All right, let's go to St. John's quickly. St. John's, good afternoon to you. St. John's, Microwave Law, St. John's? Okay. Now, I know that you have responsibility for sports and school meals and special projects. These special projects, what exactly are they?
Special projects is anything the Commander-in-Chief wants done, specially.
Okay. That's it.
So it just gives you an opportunity, or the Prime Minister an opportunity to call on any one of his ministers of state to basically get stuff done.
Mm-hmm. They recently held inter-school sports day.
Oh yeah.
I didn't get a chance to see it live. I didn't get a chance to see it on television. Maybe you can enlighten me as to what took place, because I understand that there were some stellar performances by some of these young people. Maybe you'd like to tell us about.
Absolutely, the inter-schools came off without any major issues. We've had the main sponsor being Coca-Cola. Kennedy's Limited. We want to thank them very much. This is their 16th year with the event. It's the 20th year of the event, 16 years with Coca-Cola, and so we want to thank them very much for their support, their continued support. Certainly, inter-schools is the event is just growing. This year we had a very large outturn in terms of supporters, the schools, parents, and we certainly want to just congratulate all the winners, all the persons who made the event special.
Now, Winston, somebody texted me and asked me to find out from you if you are positively thinking about recapturing your seat in your constituency at the next outing of the election in 2014. You're going to be up again, right? I would believe. You'll be running in the next election, right?
It is my intent to do so. Oh, yeah.
And from all indications, you are the man who will be going back there again.
And from all indications, I will be the one carrying the torch. However, the branch, as you know, in our party, we have a fully democratic system. And the branch at the right time will make that determination. But let me just tell you that I am ready for battle. I am ready for the war ahead. I am committed to our Commander-in-Chief. And anytime he signals the intent for this government to return to the polls, the people of Antigua and Barbuda to return to the polls, I am gearing ready.
I see your all smiles. I see your all smiles, because it seems as if you have something up your sleeve now. Tico, better watch it.
Wet your hand and wait for me. That is all I'm telling you.
You have something up your sleeve there. But I do believe that at the next outing, you are going to be successful. But I believe you're coming up against some challenges in your constituency. In terms of not only some of the people who oppose you, or some of the people who would be supporting Tico League. I'm thinking more in terms of the challenges based on what was not there before and what has now been put in place, and how the people would respond to what has been to their benefit. Some of the challenges you are facing at this point in time, what are they?
I really would not want to spend quite an hour time looking at challenges, because I see challenges as nothing else than an opportunity to perform, to just move to the next level, and we're doing just that. In 2009, I started on the theme of a real plan for real people, and that was the whole question of that was to involve the people in the day-to-day administering of the constituency, and it is working. I have to report that on Saturday evening we had the first Miss Rural South pageant. I'm sure you were aware.
I've heard about it.
Of that, and we were able to crown the first queen, and that she was from the Low Otters community. That event forms part of that entire initiative. As what had transpired before, where everybody's looking to the politician to carry the burden. I've sought to just shift that. We are going to continue the empowerment of our people to make sure that they too can be a part of the transformation, that they can be a part of the continued development of that constituency. And you're absolutely correct. I have no doubt that in 2014 or whenever the bell tolls, that I will be ready, and the people now understand that new biscuit in new package don't necessarily mean you can fill your belly. Right? And they're fully...
I guess by now they realize that.
They're fully appreciative of the fact. And I too, as I said, had had some challenges, and I just want to recommit myself again to the people. Whatever those challenges were, we're going to get over them. We're going to get ourselves together, dust ourselves off, and we're going to move on. I am ready for the battle ahead. Join me.
2014.
2014.
Now I know that you have just spoken about recommitment and so forth, but I believe that you will have some direct plans as to how you're going to go about, gathering your people together and actually winning the approval of a number of persons within your constituency of Rural South. I'm not preempting you here. I'm not peeping your hand, but maybe you can tell us of some of the things that you see that need to be done in your constituency. Maybe you can tell us about the infrastructure, because I know that Public Works, for example, did a brilliant job while I was there with Minister Daniel, a brilliant job in your area. In terms of all those that run through people's properties, even before they existed, because of the plans they have and so on. Now, speaking about recommitment, that is one thing. But what about the plans of getting people to understand where Winston Williams is coming from and where he's going?
And hence, that is why we unveil our master plan, and that was a real plan for real people. It breaks it down into 4 or 5 different categories. But let me just go back to the whole question of infrastructure development. That is a continued process, and I don't know that we will ever get to the place where we will need more. Certainly, we do have our own challenges, but we will continue to work with the Public Works Department to make sure that we can do a little here and a little there. I know the good folks up in Radio Range, as it relates to that street with the Lutheran school. We have some infrastructural challenges down still in the Lower Artist community, Nut Grove, Grey Hill, and of course the Golden Grove new extension, which needs to be completed. So I've started the dialogue, I've started the conversation, I've started the whole process of ensuring we can move back down in those areas and get those infrastructural work done. However, we're not simply sitting and waiting. We are going to be preempting, and we're going to get stuff done. I can assure the people that the same Winston Williams you voted for in 2004, I am not necessarily the same person today. I am a lot more matured. I have a handle totally on the whole question of leadership, and this is where in 2014 you're going to see service meeting leadership. That is what I want to present to the people.
Yeah, I can remember also, Winston, that in the not too distant past, your name was called and tied up with the fence scandal, open, close, inverted commas.
Yeah.
Based on what the opposition was saying. I can use the word scandal in this case. Yeah. So I'm asking, how do you feel going forward now? Have you been vindicated from that? Do you feel more relieved now that an investigation was done and the findings of the investigations were made known to the public?
Absolutely.
And I believe that now that is a dead horse that they're still trying to whip, especially your opponent. So what's your take on that?
Well, let me make it clear. From the very onset, I had made it quite clear that this matter, if the persons wanted to be honest and they wanted to be forthright, they would recognize that they were really and truly, this whole imaginary scandal story was just too much. It was individuals who were really trying to sully individuals' good characters. I've made it quite clear that the people of this country pay me a salary every month. That's all I want. I don't want nothing else from nobody. I don't intend to take anything else from anybody. But 4 points on that whole situation. The individuals who were working on those projects were Antiguans and Barbudans. We didn't import anybody from anywhere. We didn't give a contract to nobody in no other part of the world. They were all Antiguans and Barbudans. All of those individuals, well over 1,000 individuals, every week or every month were able to take home money so that they can in turn contribute those monies back to the local economy. Every one of those projects are still there today for everybody to see and to enjoy, because they weren't figment of anybody's imagination. So we are seeing that individuals are using these community projects, and again, to make it clear that we have to position ourselves We have to position ourselves within the region and within the world for our own tourism and sports. We have to be able to do that, and the only way we're going to do that is through facilities. If the question can be the question that really should have been asked was about the systems, and if the systems were properly in place, if individuals who had those responsibilities and made sure that they'd done certain things, I don't know that we would have been or would have had that issue. But I am confident that the report, which was the investigation which was done, found the findings are there for everybody to see. And as far as I'm concerned, that is done for me. I just want to move on and continue the good work on behalf of the people of Antigua and Barbuda.
Okay, wonderful. Now, just this morning I was asking Dr. Mansour about the Millennium Development Goals and how the ICT, Information Communication Technology, how it fits into the whole perspective pertaining to the Millennium Development Goals.
Right.
Now, you just spoke about positioning ourselves, and that is also part of that.
Absolutely.
You have to position yourself for the Millennium Development Goals. But I've heard many times that there is a lack of infrastructure. We have to some degree, the infrastructure in place. Recently with the fencing and so on, and let me just say this, right, because I've been to Cuba a couple of times, and I've seen in other countries apart from Cuba where sport has been playing a very pivotal role in the development of not only young people but old people,
the senior citizens
as well.
Yeah.
Now, we are understanding that some of these infrastructures are lacking in terms of resources. These are hard times. Things brown. Jury gone upstairs, water more than flour, so to speak. Where are we going to get these resources from if we don't have the money?
Well, I think we've got to, first of all, attempt to live within our means. And I have no doubt that once this economy is now on its way back up, I'm very pleased to announce that it seems that since the United States has gotten its unemployment situation under control, business is beginning to boom, and we're going to feel that. So with that being said, we will continue work with the Ministry of Finance, with the good people there, and whatever the government, when things again begin to bloom, we will see exactly how we go from there. However, as it relates to a major development, we are now counting down in terms of the construction of what is known as the Antigua and Barbuda Sports Village, which is we're looking those lands surrounding the Sir Vivian Cricket Stadium to put additional. I mean, I think it's some 10 or 15 other facilities will be placed around that entire property. We've had our first meeting with one of the investors and the Minister of Finance, and we're waiting for the process to move forward. Just like Minister Mansour, I've got to ensure, I don't want to give you too much, but just to say that all of us, every last minister of government, headed by our Prime Minister, our only aim, our only drive is to get the employment situation in this country settled out, to get our people re-engaged, and to ensure that at the end of the day we provide the opportunities for our people. The only way this economy is going to turn around is if we invest directly into it. Right? You're absolutely right. And resources drying up is not only in Antigua. I was watching Bloomberg News this morning as it relates to Greece. And you know how tenuous that situation is.
Yes.
In fact, the United States and Great Britain is now considering pumping monies into the Greece economy simply because they do not want another collapse again of the world economy. So we here in Antigua are very fortunate. We're very fortunate that there's still people, still investors who are ready, able and willing to invest in Antigua and Barbuda, and we just need to just go with that. We want to thank the Minister of Finance as it relates to the beaches project up there in Willie Keys, and to say that the only reason why that project isn't going is because of the Antigua Labour Party. Over $100 million is sitting by waiting, and every day they go on the radio and talk about heavy-duty equipment workers. People have backhoe, have this, have that, have to be parked up. They are the ones that are blocking that development. We talk of the airport. the brand new airport which is supposed to be built by the Chinese. Well, you know, the main hindrance of that issue is the whole question of the lands that RL and Stanford got under the Antigua Labour Party for some dollar and something cents. Every step of the way, they have been the ones attempting to hinder the development of Antigua and Barbuda. And I want our people to realize that we here in the UPP, our only drive is to ensure that we deliver on our commitments to you, the people, that we get you re-engaged, re-employed, get the whole economy going again, and we ask you to join us in our efforts. We will not say that everything has gone right. I don't know that, because we're all human beings. I'm human. I have made mistakes. I will continue to make mistakes. But I want to urge the people of Antigua and Barbuda, you have a very good thing going with the United Progressive Party. We take that a quick snapshot at the whole question of power generation, the whole question of water. I mean, just tell me, why is it that the Antigua Labour Party could not have done what we did, go out to the Chinese and ask them please to refurbish the reservoir up at Grey Hill, so that the people of Grace Farm, the people of Golden Grove, the people of Nut Grove could have fresh pipe-borne water? How is it they couldn't go and ask them for lights to run through the length and breadth of this country, Colin, on those dark roads? Remember those years of going south, going north, going east, and going west without lights?
Going through the valley was a hellhole for me.
And now today we see there are over 1,500 of those lights being planted. That is what you call a people-driven government. Yes. How is it they didn't get with the people, Chavez and so on in Venezuela, and come up with this whole question of ALBA? Right? Instead, all you hear them every time the Antigua Labour Party speak, it's about doom and gloom and doom. And we have to move on. So I say stick with the United Progressive Party. If it wasn't for the UPP, we wouldn't have had the Mount St. John. If it wasn't for the United Progressive Party, we wouldn't have had a desalination plant down there at Fry's Beach. Yes. So that is to provide water now for all of those hotels on the southern end and for the people in agriculture. Without the United Progressive Party, we wouldn't have had the National School Meal Service, which provides a warm meal, which purchases goods and services from our farmers, our fisher folk, our providers of meats, locally, butchers. Without the United Progressive Party, we wouldn't have our uniform grant program. We wouldn't have our people first initiative with our seniors. So this United Progressive Party has done a lot. And I'm telling you, after this week, I think everybody is now fully understood. And I want to let the people know, you, our supporters, do not allow us to sink back where we were before. Continue to remind us, continue to push us. Our leaders need to talk more. We need to get back out there. We need to begin this whole question of talking to the people, re-energizing. Without the United Progressive Party, Colin, I heard somebody on another radio station saying, well, you know, when you consider it's only 1,000 scholarships that the government has actually given. Well, that's 1,000 more than you had ever given in 50-something years. Right? In terms of scholarships, you're looking at well over $50 million of the taxpayers' money that has gone into providing scholarships. You remember the days when the lawyers went down to UA and so on, they couldn't graduate, when people went to because Antigua didn't pay? Yes. That does not happen today. We have a student or many students in so many various parts of this world. You name it, Greece, Russia, you name it. I was on Skype the other day and speaking to a young police officer who is in China. They have them in Russia. We have them in well, I don't need to reach Alaska yet. But we're everywhere. That could not have happened without the leadership of the Honorable Winston Baldwin Spencer and this United Progressive Party. Let's not forget that when we took over this country, there was one fire truck. One fire truck for Antigua and Barbuda, and you hardly had 2 ambulances. Today you have so much, you have enough ambulance to wash everybody's skin. There are enough fire engines in this country that we're looking at dividing the thing now so everybody can move. Let's not forget, Colin, that the police officers who were also who had to deal with the fire were still together. So when you finish go out on fire, you had to go and report back to St. John's and say, come back in, so you have another shift. We have separated that service. So now you have a fire service and you have a police service. Look, there is so much that this government has done on behalf of the people of this country. When you consider that since 1994, when the same Whatless Lester Bird came into office, and told the people that he was going to pay them their back pay. 1994. That's over $100 and something million in back pay. Who had to pay the back pay, Colin? This United Progressive Party. When the senior citizens were shot, the gates were flung in their faces. Right? Who had to increase their pensions? This United. You want to know where the money gone? Check every Antigua and Barbuda. Check the people who collect that little $250 every week. And they take the money, they take the voucher and take it where? Not to no politician, they take it to CMC, which is responsible for purchasing local produce and so on. So you've seen that it's a total package. That you have a progressive, driven government to want to make it better for the people of Antigua and Barbuda. And I am proud to be a part of it. I said to our supporters, whatever has happened in the past, throw water upon that. Because the rescuing of our country continues. The rescuing of rural South continues. And we will not give up. My life has been dedicated to this United Progressive Party and Antigua and Barbuda. Colin, whether it rains, sun, dew or snow, count on me to be here, ready, able and willing to serve.
Wonderful. And you did mention earlier that you are recommitting yourself once again.
Absolutely.
To go into the fight. Now, I've heard the Minister of Tourism, the Honorable John McGinley, quite a number of times he has spoken about sports tourism. Just not too long ago you spoke about the sports village and so on. With the sports tourism, we saw what happened when Haiti was here. The people came out in their numbers. And I looked at the crowd and I said to myself, I wonder how many tourists will be just around here and how it will pay off, how it will redound to benefits for the people of Antigua and Barbuda. But I've heard many talks, many times, about sports tourism. Where are we going with this? Sports
tourism is alive and well. Every time you see a team coming to Antigua and Barbuda, every time you see so many the cruise ships coming, or there's so many teams that will come to the hotels, sports tourism takes care of all of that. So those events are actually working.
Ongoing.
They are ongoing. And let me tell you, our FIFA qualifying matches for football, don't take that for a joke. Don't take it lightly.
Serious matter.
Very serious. And that is why the government has committed to working with the Football Association. Take, for instance, God help us that we put on a banging on the United States up there in the States. They have to come here.
Yes,
and listen, if we bang them there and they come here.
Oh, don't say, Winston, I'm getting goosebumps already.
I'm telling you. And then when we take on Jamaica, and I'm saying to my Jamaican brothers and sisters, I love all you.
But we're going to
I love all you. Bad. But we're going to have to put some blow on you. My good friend Portia Simpson is my very dear friend. But listen to me. Just imagine Jamaicans coming to Antigua. Just imagine the United States. And they have to walk with, you're looking at upwards of 5,000 to 10,000 people traveling. Cameras, you're looking at the opportunities. Those are tourism benefits that we clearly would not be able to pay for. So we have to galvanize ourselves. The sports ministry is working with the tourism ministry, working with the finance ministry, working with the health ministry, working with the agricultural ministry, working with foreign affairs, working with the legal people, everybody working together. And this is a government that has proven that is because we are working together that we have held this country in safe hands since the entire world economy has collapsed. Yes. There has been not one public servant that has been terminated due to the economy. We have held it, and it's not no fully people can do that.
And that is commendable.
And let me tell you, if this thing was so fixable as some of the bright bulbs of the Antigua Labour Party would want you to believe, how is it them we need to export Malvin Joseph up to Greece? We need to send him to Italy. We need to send him over to the United States because they can't seem to fix their challenges, right? So it is not a quick fix. And this United Progressive Party, under the leadership of Winston Baldwin Spencer, has held this country in check. And by God's grace, the same God that led us through the many years, the same God that held our hand through the dark years of the guns and the bombs and all the fire bombing and all of the tear gas, the same God that held our hands after 2009 when 1999, when they wrote off the opposition, the United Progressive Party in this country, by God's grace, we were able to struggle through until we were able in 2004 to break the reins of birdism in this country. And I say I am committed to forever keeping that cage locked, because we cannot and will not allow Lester Bird to come back and to rule this country ever, 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 ever
Well
again.
said.